everybody, Darren Hall, Exquisite Exotics here.
You didn't try to make me laugh today. Normally you try to before we start.
But I didn't.
Hey, good job improving.
Improving?
Yeah.
It's going backwards.
No, it's not.
Anyway.
It's growth.
Today's video. I have a sticky note. Do you know what our most popular video on our YouTube channel is? Go ahead. Guess. Oh, wait. Did I wait a little? Probably. It is our build on how to make your own incubator from a refrigerator. We did that video over 4 years ago, and it's got like over 8,000 views now, I think. Getting close to 9,000 views, maybe. It's definitely over 8,000 views, which for us is a lot, because we're a small little channel. So that's our most popular video, like by a significant margin.
Yeah.
So we had to build a new incubator, and we thought, man, we should make a video
on that. What did we learn?
Yeah,
what have we realized? And why? How can we make it look better?
Yeah. So,
I didn't think of any of that stuff. I just knew we needed another incubator.
We did.
Quantity-wise.
Yeah, space-wise, we needed a second incubator.
So let's do it.
All right. So this video will be incubator version 2.0, basically, for us. There were some things that we wanted to improve on this incubator. So number one, have a glass door. Because right now, every time we want to check a clutch, that means opening the door to be able to look in there and see what's going on, which lets out heat every single time. So it'd be really nice if we could just look in through a glass door, right? Step number one. Step number two is the back panel, that false wall on our original incubator, isn't removable. So if anything were to, not easily at least, it's silicone in place. If anything were to like die, because electronics die over time,
like the fan,
the heat tape, it would be very hard to replace. Not not impossible to replace, but very, very difficult to replace. So we didn't like that about the first incubator we built. And then also we used silicone in the first incubator we built, which was really nice in the fact that it held stuff on really well. And we don't need to worry about falling. Just repeating you. But the silicone smell lasted a long time. We let it sit open. We ended up putting carbon. We used carbon because I have it around for aquarium stuff. In there with a fan blowing on it, try to like pull the smell out of the air. We tried baking soda. If
you remember, this is not the first video we'd be telling you this. When we did our GTP enclosure, we did something with silicone. Was it GTP? Some enclosure we did. Now I feel like that's not right. We know the GTP was paint.
You're talking about
sorry, that was the paint that we did. But
the I Heart Geckos.
Yeah, we did something that had to sit. So we couldn't actually transfer our geckos over. Not saying you should be transferring anything into a freshly done thing like in 5 minutes, but it smelled for a while.
But interestingly, the gecko enclosures, when we made them, they only smelled for like a couple days. This was like...
Well, they have holes in it to breathe more.
Yeah, that's true. This was like 6 months. It was a long time. And it is closed, and that's probably why. Not that it ever caused us any issues. We didn't lose any eggs over it or anything, but we did let it air out with the door open for like a couple weeks before we put anything in it, I think, and maybe even a couple months. So like it never caused any problems, but it definitely wasn't something we wanted to repeat.
We don't have time around here.
Those were the big things I wanted to improve. Holly, did you have anything else?
Prove what?
Improve.
Oh, improve on what? The previous one to this one?
Yes.
Dude, no, that glass door is top notch though.
Yeah.
Like the idea of that just makes it look more professional in the sense of I don't know. To me that was my biggest thing, was doing that, because you're more of a parts kind of mind and I'm more of a visual kind of mind, so I think you probably wanted to vastly improve the actual product itself, and I just wanted to make it look nice. It's being real.
Yeah. All right. So with
and space, definitely space. Sorry,
bigger,
space. So not only like would we be able to only use that one and be able to put more clutches in there, we now have two. So space-wise, I do think we both wanted.
Oh, that's actually another good point. We also didn't like the idea of all of our eggs in one basket.
All of our eggs in one incubator.
All of our eggs in one incubator, where if an incubator dies, we lose a whole season, or not a whole season, but whatever's in there for that season. So now we can, with a second incubator, we can split clutches between two. If something were to catastrophically happen, at least we're not losing everything. So another reason I wanted to build that one. Remember that we talked about that. Some things, I want to get to the video as soon as possible because it is a long video of us building a fridge. A couple quick notes before we get to the video. One, there's not a lot of space for us to build this incubator. So that causes two problems. One, we had to build it in our cricket breeding room. So there is cricket noise. Yes, in the entire video, the entire time. I'm sorry, but that's the only space we had to build the thing. So
I'm not sorry.
We don't have a filming area, like a special filming area. Like you see, we film. This is in our snake room, right? Our ball python room. Like sometimes we film in the gecko room, or we film in the shipping / cricket breeding / incubator room. Like it's going in one of those 3 rooms. That's where we're filming. So I'm sorry for the cricket noise. I'm sorry that the quality of the video isn't the greatest. Not only is it a small space to work in, but the lighting, trying to light in there was kind of difficult too. So the video quality is not the greatest, and the cricket noise is in the background. I apologize for those 2 things. Also, we built this over a really long period because, unbeknownst to you guys, because things kind of just kept flowing, Daryl injured himself pretty severely there at the end of last year. So all projects that we were working on had to stop, which the incubator was one of them. And we started that thing in like
November.
August?
No, was
September,
it really
August? Yeah, I think it was about
really
August last year. I think it's been almost a year. And then I injured myself in November. So we never got to, it was going to be like kind of work on a couple weekends, get it done in a month or 2, kind of done. That did not happen. It took longer than expected, which every project always does. But then I was like not able to help with it for quite some time. So we were finally able to get done. So if this seems disjointed a little bit throughout the video, it's because the thing was made over almost a full year of being built. It was supposed to be ready at the beginning of this season, and it's halfway through probably the amount of clutches we're going to get for the season. So, but it got done. It's done now.
It's done and it's glorious.
Anything else, Holly?
Nope.
Okay, we're going to go ahead, jump in, watch the video, and then we'll be back kind of with our final thoughts. Alright, fridge incubator build 2.0. I apologize that I can't zoom out any much more than this, but I am in a tight space. So, as you can see, it needs cleaned out, that's for sure. And we need to go ahead and pull out all of the old refrigeration equipment inside of it, all the coils, all that stuff. Reminder, this one's already broken, that's why we got it, it was free. If you have one that's not broken and there's still refrigerant in it, it's illegal in most places, if not all, to pull out that refrigerant and just release it into the atmosphere. So you make sure you either recover it properly or look up a video how to, or any of those things. For us, thankfully, this one was already broken, so and it didn't have any refrigerant in it. It had a leak, that's why they were getting rid of it. So for us, this is just a free fridge to start working with, and the good news is it has lights built into it, which I'll show you once we get to it, and it also has a clear glass door, which is one of our biggest upgrades on this one. So let me go ahead and we'll start by getting all this refrigerant stuff out of this thing, and then I'll be back. Alright, the fridge is torn apart. Again, I'm working in a small space, so I'm sorry I have to be up close. A couple of tips as you're tearing it apart. If you have things of cables and there are plugs on them, focus, there you go. Keep the plugs if you can, rather than cutting plugs off. Also, taking some time to tape wires together so you know what went to each area is super helpful too, just so you know what things went together as you're doing this and coming back later and trying to figure out where wires are. That is important if, like us, you have built-in lights in your doors. So this door has lights all the way around it. Oh, I'm sorry, it's probably gonna get dark. And you're seeing that I'm working in a tiny space here. But we want those lights to work when we're done. I need to be able to trace that wiring, so unplugging versus cutting stuff, it's a huge help. And also, if you're going to be cutting stuff, do what I did with these wires, where you wrap stuff together with a little bit of tape before you cut your plugs off. If you have to cut some plugs off to get stuff out, like I did, you can see there. Wrap some wires together, cut your plugs then, but before you cut your plugs, take some pictures so you know how things went together and what plugs went to what. So, there's my tip. Now that this thing's apart, it's time to build this back false wall. If you don't know what a false wall is, it's probably worth taking a moment to watch our first incubator build, but basically it's a fake wall that's going to have space behind it. So this is the wall back here, right? We're going to take and leave some space behind it. Now what's nice is I already checked in our shelves that fit in here, they go this way, there's enough space behind them that I can run the false wall right up on this ledge here, which is what I'm going to do. So I'm going to just put the wall on that ledge and leave that space that you see here behind it. So we need to start cutting PVC. We're going to use 1/4 inch PVC sheet. You can get it at we got ours at Home Depot. You can find it pretty much everywhere. So we're going to start making a false wall. So we're going to cut a piece to go across, top to bottom, and then we're going to need a couple other pieces. We're going to need a piece to cap off the top up here, and then we need a center divider. So if you haven't watched our first incubator build, it'd be good to watch that. But basically we're going to build 2 heat columns, one here, 2 separate fans. And the reason we're doing that is if one fan dies and they're right next to each other, that fan's going to choose the path of least resistance to blow the air. So it's just going to want to blow back out the fan that died. If you actually divide your 2 segments up with 2 separate fans, it forces the air to go down. So even if one fan dies, you're still going to have your other fan running, forcing air down over the heat tape. So it's important to have that center divider for redundancy just in case. And that's why we're building it this way, is redundancy with the 2 fans. So it's time to start cutting some PVC. We're going to want to leave ourselves a gap here at the bottom for the air to come out. So the air is going to come out the gap at the bottom, go through the actual incubator, go into fans at the top. Those fans are going to blow the air down over heat tape, come back down to the bottom, and so on and so forth. So, time to cut some PVC, and we will be back once we get some of that cut. Alright, sorry, it's probably going to tone it down the brightness, because when our camera sees a lot of white, it adjusts the brightness down. But anyway, here's our back false wall made with that center divider that we talked about. We're going to throw something else on here near the end, so we'll show you that when we get to it. But you can see right now it's just duct tape on there. It's actually really sturdy, because it doesn't really move. Duct tape on both sides, some good duct tape. We didn't use silicone this time because, like we mentioned in the intro, that's one of the things we wanted to avoid on this build. So no silicone, just duct tape holding that in place. And it runs the whole length of it and dividing the 2. So hopefully if you do like this, you can see the whole way. And then this is going to be our top cap piece that'll go here on the top once we get it in there to close off the top area so that there's no air leak at the top. And then the fans will be kind of here. We do this. The 2 circles will kind of be where the fans are, higher up, maybe there. And then the heat tape will be on the incubator itself, but running down the length. And then the air will blow out the bottom, basically. And this will be the fake wall hiding all the heat tape and stuff behind it. So fake wall, false wall, whatever you want to call it, most people call it false wall, is built as far as we can take it right now. So next up, we've got to put together some heat tape. We need to make 2 strips of heat tape here. So strip number 1 is done. Basically, for heat tape, we need to cut it. You just cut in one of these clear areas. And then what we do on the end that we're not attaching the wire to is we just electrical tape it with good electrical tape. We get all of our heat tape supplies from the bean farm. Down at this end, we use the bean farm sells these little crimps. I don't know if I could get one, maybe. Hey Holly, can you, since you're standing there, maybe get one of those?
They're intertwined right
now. Yeah, exactly. Anyway, while she's pulling those apart, here we go. So we use these, light, there we go. These little crimps allows you to crimp the wire in this part, and then you crimp this down on the heat tape. And then when you're done, you put, these are clear plastic covers, but we have little brown ones to go over it. And we use the actual tool from Calorique, which you can also get from the bean farm. We do enough stuff with heat tape that it just behooves us to have the tool to do it. This little hole in here allows you to do the wire crimping, and then the flat end makes sure that you get the flat part here crimped correctly. So, again, sorry that everything's so dark in this room. It's unfortunately the way our camera acts in this room for some reason. But that's all you gotta do, heat tape, crimp those on, put your little covers on, plug it in, you're done. So if you haven't seen videos on heat tape, there's lots of videos on heat tape. I don't want to make this incubator build any longer than it has to be. So just basics, putting some heat tape together. Feel free, if you don't know how to put heat tape together, to look up a video on how to put heat tape together. Alright, so we went ahead and just took those 2 rows of heat tape we made and used duct tape to tape them to the back of the incubator. And we did realize up here at the top in the middle, which I don't know how well you're going to see, let me see what I can do. Up here, where the insulators go for the heat tape, that's going to be a problem for the middle of our divider that we made. So we're going to go ahead and take that and up here at the top, we're going to go ahead and just notch a little bit down here, notch that out so that it's not interfering with that. Alright, so we're ready to go ahead and install that divider we made. We went ahead and made that notch we talked about. You can see there's a piece missing here. And now we're going to use a sealant. So on our other original incubator, what we didn't like about it was that this divider we can't really remove because I can't see my hand. This divider we can't really remove because it's silicone into place. So this time we wanted to be able to make it removable, which is why you see us using a lot more tape and stuff. So we actually cut this divider a little shorter than we needed so that we can use some rubber sealer. It's just this foam sealer. This stuff you can find in like the air conditioning department of any like Home Depot, Lowe's. Oh, sorry for that.
Speaking of air conditioning.
Speaking of air conditioning pumps. So we're just going to use this foam sealer. We're going to run it across here. I'm also going to put a little piece here to try to prevent air bypass between the 2 sides. And it's compressible, so you know it'll just compress down to the whatever thickness we need it to be. And that'll help seal the 2 again so that you don't get air bypass from side to side, so that if one of your fans ever goes down, the other fan still blows full amount of air across the heat tape on that side of your incubator. So let's go ahead and get that installed. So again, I'm not going to show it. We're just going to run foam across here, and then we'll take this whole divider piece that's laying out here and put it up into the incubator, and then we'll show you what it looks like once it's taped up in there. Alright, so we went ahead and mounted, and we'll get to that box in a second, mounted our fans up. We just drilled holes for the mounting in the corners, and then actually used the hardware that came with it, because they were self-cutting screws. But if you don't have that in your fans, you know, you can go ahead and just use a bolt. These are just computer fans, that's all they are. It's up to you what size you use. Bigger fans tend to move more air, so that's always a good idea. These are 140 millimeter fans by Noctua, which is a really good computer fan company. So if you're looking for like high quality fans, Noctua fans are great. So these are just 140 millimeter Noctua regular old computer fans. So find a computer fan you like that moves good air, and that's what we're going for. So now that these are mounted on, the next step is getting it mounted up inside the incubator. So we're just going to go do that next. Alright, so we got that piece taped up in there. We used some boards here at the bottom to set the gap that we wanted at the bottom. It's really up to you what your gap is. You just want to have a way for the air to get out the bottom. For us, because we had these metal shelf holders on both sides, what we did is we taped the top, and then we would remove one side, tape it down, and then re-bolt these back on. So not only, and then poke holes basically where the bolts go. So not only is it taped on, but then that tape is held on by the shelf holders as well on both sides. So now we have a little piece of that same white PVC stuff that we are going to mount in that top area. We're going to tape that in, and then this whole section will be all sealed up and ready for testing for airflow. Alright, so this is how we're going to power the fans. So this is a Belkin power supply. I've gotten these before. I get them off eBay used. It's got no battery in it. Technically it's a battery backup, but they just don't have the battery. But what it does do is, see if I can find the model number for you guys. I think I found the model number before. Yeah, okay. Right there. So that says it is BU3DC001-12V. And it outputs 12 volts at 3 amps. And that's what is important. So you're going to have one cord coming off of it that goes to a regular plug. And you're going to plug that into the wall. And then you're going to have another cord that comes off of it that's going to look like this. That's going to be your 12 volt power. So you want to make sure that your fans, when you buy them, take less power than your power supply. So this puts out 3 amps. My fans take way less than 3 amps. So this is going to put out plenty of power. And this is your 12 volt power that runs to your computer fans. Now, since we have 2 computer fans, what I bought is a splitter, which plugs directly into that guy and splits for 2 fan plugs.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Holly's going to plug that in. Plugs directly in there. And then it splits to 2 fan plugs. So this is how we're going to power both of our fans. So we're just going to go ahead and plug our fans in here. Technically, all the cords are going to get run through the back, but I want to show you the airflow thing. So we're just going to plug this in the front, show you how the airflow works, and then I'll rewire it to the back afterwards. So let's get these plugged in and show you what I mean about the airflow. All right, so we got the fans running. Again, I just temporarily plugged these in to show you guys. So I want to show you that air is currently running back across what would be the heat tape in the back, and then should be coming out the bottom. So to prove that, Holly is going to use a lighter here. Go ahead and put it over there. And you see how much that flame is moving on both sides? That's from the air blowing out underneath, right? Mm-hmm. All right, let's close that up for a second, Holly. So we added that divider, and the reason is if one fan dies, what you don't want is you don't want the air that's blowing in here just to come right out this other hole if a fan is dead. You want that divider that's going down the middle that we created to force that air to go down all the way to the bottom, so you still at least have one fan where the air is still running over one side of heat tape, even if one of your fans dies. That way you still have that airflow, you still have heat circulating, and it gives you time to worry about replacing this other fan, and you don't have any loss of function, basically. You have a little less heating, but that one side can still heat the whole incubator for you. And you don't have it just blowing air from one side to the other. So to prove that idea works, what we're going to do is, Holly, if you could unplug this one fan here on this side. Perfect. Now that fan's going to go off. So now we want to have that fan there, hopefully blowing most of its air still out the bottom. So the first good sign is that fan stopped spinning. So there's not like a ton of air that's going to like spinning that fan up to blow it out. So to prove that though, Holly, if you could put the lighter back down here again. And look at that flame. Look at how much, see on that side, there you go, that's a good example. On that side there's not much movement, and if you lift it up, like here, right, like that's the basic flame with no air blowing. Now put it back on that bottom right corner. Look at that thing. So what's happening is the air's still getting blown down the bottom, even though one fan has died and all the air is not just going in here and coming out that open hole. And that's the importance of that divider down the middle. That's why you want to get that in there. It doesn't need to be a perfect seal, but you want it to be mostly sealed so that the air wants to flow down the bottom over your heat tape and not just out that other hole. All right, this incubator is done. I just, first off, let me open up our door here. I don't have a lot of space, so I'm sorry it's as close as far away as I can get. So I haven't plugged anything in yet, but basically they ran the cords out the back. You can see I just taped all the cords up as they ran out the back, taped the hole. I taped it on this side, I taped it on the back side. We have a random one of our shelves, but we have, we can put as many shelves in here as we want. I think we have like 5 shelves that we can put in this big space at whatever height we want, because you can change the height.
These are sturdy.
Oh yeah, these are nice and metal and sturdy. Way better than
very safe with these versus
way better than if you remember old incubator that's still running. So and then I also went ahead and fixed the lights. So I redid the wires. Remember at the beginning of the video when I said keep track of all your wires that you cut and take pictures. That's so you can make sure that at the end you can rewire this. Now I'm not going to show that because every fridge is going to be different. You're going to have to kind of trace your wires yourself for what yours does. But now, even closed, it has lights. So it's all lit up and we can see in here. And that's just, right now it's just plugged into a wall, but we're going to get like a smart switch so we can just control the lights in the fridge on our phone. And that's it. So let's go do a closeout on this incubator and we'll be back. Okay, final thoughts on the video.
Jerry Springer, final thoughts?
Yeah. It's pretty awesome. That incubator is pretty sweet. Being able to see through it, having the lights in the door like that so that, and then we're just going to have it on our app on our phones. We can turn the lights on and off when we want to. It's bigger. The shelves are sturdier. It's just infinitely better in all ways. It's all the parts you can, listen, it wouldn't be easy to take apart, but it's all can be taken apart, replaced, fixed if you had to, retaped everything up, no silicone in there, all just taped together. It works. It's still the 2 divider system so that we don't have any blow through from one fan to another if a fan dies. Our redundancy that we liked about, and we didn't mention that at the beginning, but that's actually one of the things we liked about our old incubator is the redundancy built in with the fans. We wanted to keep that. So that works, and we showed it with the lighter that it works. So overall, I'm pretty happy with how it turned out.
Mm-hmm. Me too. It's quite pretty.
Your only thing to add is it's pretty.
Well, you
Your
said
intro, you're like, Daryl's all about making it work, and I'm about making it pretty. At the outro, I'm like, here's why it's awesome, because it works, and you're like, and it's pretty.
I'm consistent.
Okay, that's true. You are consistent.
I mean, what do you want me to say?
You're consistently pretty.
Literally...
Oh, brand points.
Thanks, babe.
Yeah.
I mean, do you want me to like literally repeat what you said though? Is what I was trying to get
I'm
at?
just seeing if you had something to add, something additional.
It was a lot of work. I will say that. Like, don't think that our videos, both before the one before and 2.0, mean that it's like that and you're good.
It does take time.
It takes a lot of time and takes a lot of work. And when they say measure twice, cut once, that's usually a good thing to follow. And you know, we wanted to show you the precise things to do, not necessarily every step we had to take or everything we had to move out of the way or everything we had to go through. So just be mindful.
And we were in a rush. And we were in a rush to get it done here at the end. So we didn't have a lot of time to video. So we just tried to video the important segments so that it's the information you need to be able to build it. I know like the segment where we tried to show the identification number for the power supply for the fans that was out of focus. I know I say it out loud what the model number is, but like you couldn't actually see it. As I mentioned at the beginning, some of the video quality was not the greatest. But more importantly, if you have questions on how to build one like ours, and you're like, Daryl, I see this part in your video, but how did you do X, Y, Z? You just leave it in a comment. You can send us an email. Like, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to help.
We're experts now.
I don't know about
2.0.
experts. But I was a designer
Junior experts
for the
like 20 years.
Like 20 years. So designing things and making them work is kind of my forte.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's my specialty. So I'm happy to help if you.
Did we film? Because now I can't remember. Did we film like actually taking apart it in the very beginning?
No.
Or did we? Okay.
No.
That's another thing to be mindful.
We talked about it though.
We did talk about it. We had to be, because you were saying about a year ago. I'm like, wow, what did we talk about a year ago? Being mindful that those kind of fridges are heavy.
Yes.
So like taking the actual parts out that you don't need, that makes a huge difference in getting this.
Yeah. Good point.
Yeah.
Good point. The fridge is way light once you get all of the compressors, the evaporator, all the coils out of it. I also happen to be a refrigeration designer too, so.
So yeah.
So anyway, yeah, once you get all of the workings of the air conditioning system out, it is a lot easier to move around. It's a lot lighter. So that definitely, first step, I know we talk about it in the video, like make sure you don't just relieve the refrigerant up into the air. That's illegal. But first step is get all that refrigeration stuff out so that it's easier to work around and move the incubator when you need to. But that's a good point.
That was pretty lucky, our first fridge, that it was so dead there was nothing in it.
And the second one. And this one.
It was with this one too, yeah. So, yeah, they're very lucky that there's nothing in there, so you don't have to deal with the, waste on that.
Both of these fridges were broken because they had developed leaks and lost the refrigerant charge, which is why we got them. For free, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that, but I did get both of our incubator fridges were free. I didn't pay for either of them.
So tip on that, if you go to a restaurant and they're free, or if you talk to somebody or get to know people and say, hey, I'm looking for this, I will haul it away and take it off your hands, so you don't have to pay to go to the dump and everything for free. I will just take this broken thing off your hand.
It's actually how I got mine. It was at my job.
The third one, the one that we haven't done, the one that we have there. The one that we just did is the one from your last job.
Yes, I got it
from... The one that we haven't done yet is from friends at a restaurant.
Okay, never mind. Yep. But the one that we just did, I got for free because at my work, it broke. And then they took it out of the cafeteria area and had it sitting outside by the trash. And I was like, I went to our site service person, was like, hey, are you guys going to dump that? And they were like, yeah, it's dead. We're just going to toss it. And I was like, I will take it for free so that you don't have to take it. And they were like, that's perfect because I'm going to have to pay to take it to the dump. So I just got it for free.
So yeah, there's that tip. Yeah. Get it for free.
Or try to find a broken one on Craigslist or
listen,
Facebook Marketplace.
Even if you have to spend $20 to pick up one that's like broken and whatever, even if you have to spend a few bucks to go get it, that's better than a couple hundred and just tearing something apart.
That works.
That works.
Yeah.
Try to find a dead one. And I highly doubt it because our county would not allow it. But if you go to the recycling center where they have the refrigerators, they will not let us take them. We're not allowed to take them. Like, I think we've asked once or twice, like, hey, can we take these? And we're going to just gut it out anyway or whatever. And they were like, no. So once it's already there, it's probably a no. But you can still probably check with your local recycling center too, just in case, because you never know. Too. But ours was a no. So
yeah, that's another good point. Although ours is not allowed, doesn't allow that, doesn't mean yours doesn't allow that.
Yeah, because who knows what.
Because we've seen ones there where we're like, I would love to take this, and you turn it into an incubator.
Yep.
So, anything else?
Tip for the day: get anything for free if you can.
Yeah. Anything else, Holly?
Nope.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out then, because it's a long,
long video. Yeah. But yeah.
And that's it.
Yep.
So hopefully this video does as well as the other one, and if you guys like it,
or is even improved. I want, if you're gonna have, like, 4 years ago, we've learned a lot in general. So it'd be nice to make sure that this was an improvement of, that'll benefit you watching it, because this seems so much easier this time around than doing the first incubator. So
this was easier to build.
Yeah.
All right. Like, comment, subscribe, all the YouTube stuff, and we'll see you next week.
Take care.
Bye, everybody.